It's Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY, sponsored by Independent Bank and Marianne Quist of Remax Central. And after we had a repeat last week with the Realtor ladies, we decided we're going to give you a first run. And there's no better guest to have when you got something to talk about than Pat Goggin, who's always got something to talk about.
Oh, he does not have something to talk about. I always get tongue-tied. I don't know what to say.
What?
And what are we here to talk about today, Katy?
Listen, the man has more energy. He's like a jack in the box. You just wind it up and kaboom. What we're talking about today, and I think the community's ready for this, is a real golf outing, a real fundraiser for United Way. This is a wildly popular event every year.
Nothing virtual? Nothing on a computer screen?
We're going to do it.
Oh, that's nice.
We're going to do it.
Can you imagine? No computers. No computers.
So tell us what we're doing, Pat.
Well, on October 2nd of this year, we are going to have the United Way golf outing that has been around for 22 years now.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine? 22 years.
It's a
Back
long
with
run.
Maynard Thompson and
Sue Westhauser.
Yes, they were instrumental in that. And it was it's been a wonderful year, and it's always been out at Evergreen.
Right.
And so it's just really cool. And it's so easy to change this from where there was some indoor stuff going on.
Okay.
It's now all outdoors.
Sure.
So I did run this by the chief health officer for the health department.
Good.
Who covers 10 counties.
Talks to the experts.
And we did. We talked about it. Mm-hmm. And he said, Pat, it sounds like what you're doing here is just fine.
Okay.
Just fine.
Did you have to make any adjustments, any bows to what's going on?
We did not have to make any. I would say we didn't have to. The only thing we changed is several years ago, we moved from the tent to go indoors. Mm-hmm. And I had several golfers say, I don't care how nice the weather is. Please, can we go inside? It's air conditioned. It's a shorter walk to the bar. They preferred that. And I was surprised to find out that it was less expensive to go indoors.
Who knew?
Who knew? So we are doing the reception outdoors.
In October,
October 2nd. That'll be fine. It'll be early.
October.
Oh, yeah.
October 2nd is different from October 22nd.
Okay.
That is very true.
I'm listening.
So, but they did offer that we might be able to do it indoors if it was too cold.
Okay.
Now, the latest round of executive orders may have changed that, but so we still plan to do it outside. There'll be a bar outside, so that'll be fun. And we're, rather than having the meal, if you will, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which always seemed a little strange to me, we're going to do that on the course. So people can pick up lunches, box lunches, or they can have the grilled brats, hot dogs, hamburgers. They can have their choice. Okay. And that'll be at what golfers refer to as the turn.
What does that mean?
Well,
what does that mean, Rich?
It's halfway through. It's
so
9 holes.
It's 9 holes. You take 18, you divide it in half. See.
Is it a 9-hole scramble or an 18-hole
It's
scramble?
18 holes.
Okay, so it's after 9. Yes.
Yeah, it's after a number of holes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that shotgun start is there are people on every hole ready to go, and when the symbolic cannon goes off. We should do something about that, Katy. You know something about that cannon.
Oh, are you bringing your cannon? The big boom boom?
You know what? I think we could do the big boom boom.
He has a real cannon. It is so scary when it goes off. You have to do this with your ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they won't be warned. But
to
the point, there'll be lunches available at the Snack Shack.
Oh, yes. Yummy.
Which is between 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And back at the Pro Shop, which is between 18 and 1.
Okay.
So we'll have plenty of opportunities to pick their time. I think it's actually going to work better. I'm so excited to be thrown into something where you have to make changes because so often something better comes out of it.
Yes.
We have a lot of things here, the box lunch rather than the buffet.
Right. And golfers want to golf. They don't want to go to buffets.
Yeah. They don't need to do that.
No.
And the time of year. They may say, you know what?
Yeah.
Leave it in the fall, Pat. Leave it in the fall. Our sponsors.
Okay, I have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think golfers love golf so much that they're going to be like, this might be one of my last opportunities, and I got to do this, and I can do it during the work day.
Yes, on a Friday. Friday, October 2nd.
And so I'm going to throw my hat in the ring because, pretty soon golf season's done.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Toast. Yep.
Could
very
be.
done. Very done. And, we only changed that a few years ago from a Wednesday to a Friday, and actually it was the Evergreen, Phil Himes, that suggested that we do that.
Uh-huh.
I would have thought Friday would have been a huge day for a golf course with people arriving for the weekend or businesses ending a conference or something.
Sure.
That would have been a big day. But he said, Pat, let's try this and see if it works. And people liked it.
Good.
So there
You
we are.
want to know who else told us this about evolving and becoming better and making changes and improving was Scott Torco. We had some pastors on the show, because of course they had to shut their churches down. They weren't holding services, and both of those churches are back up and running. Faith Baptist and what's our Lutheran church?
Lutheran Church.
Zion.
Zion, yes.
Zion, and they're both up running their services. But Scott mentioned too, look, we didn't pick this, but now we're kind of making lemonade out of lemons, and we're making changes and getting better.
That's terrific. That's terrific.
So how do you make money on this event?
Well, the teams themselves, the golfers, need to put up some money. It runs about $100 a piece. We'd like to upsell that a little bit. We can throw in what we call the give me a foot card, and this is a game they can set between when the ball lands on the green. If it's less than 12 inches from the pin, they can take the card and measure that off and punch a hole in it. They've used it, and they pay for that card.
Okay.
And then there are also mulligans, which is a do-over, if you will. I'm not sure that's quite. I think do-over might have a technical term on a golf course, but a mulligan is where you hit the ball off
I think the
tee.
mulligan is the proper term for it.
Is that right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, you get another try.
Okay. Apparently that was some chap in Scotland whose name was Mulligan, and he would always do it again.
And that wasn't, he was breaking the rules, and so
Yeah.
they made him start paying for it?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they made him pay for it, but they started calling him mulligans after this guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a bit of
funny.
golf trivia
Yeah,
for you.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? So we sell mulligans also.
Okay.
And that ramps the charges up a little bit. We used to sell them individually, but then Doreen Lance from who was then at the Chamber, is now at the Cadillac Area Community Foundation, she started doing that, bundling them. Bundling the mulligans and the do-overs and all these little gimmicks into one price, and people liked that. So we kept that up.
Yeah.
So we make money from the golfers themselves.
Okay.
And then we've got this is sponsored by Fox Motors and Don's Auto Clinic and High Point GMC.
They're your big sponsors.
They're the big dogs in the fight.
Yeah.
And they have encouraged us to get away from the hole-in-one contests.
Sure.
Because they were spending too much money on insurance, and they said, Pat, we'd rather give you the money.
So
I
you
said, okay.
know what this is? It's insurance. Like, okay, you get a hole in one, and you're going to get whatever, money,
car,
a lease of a
brand
car,
new,
this
yeah.
and this and this. You've got to buy insurance to cover you.
Right, you do.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
I like it. I like it too. And you know what else we've done? Because even if we give away $1,000 for a hole-in-one, people would buy insurance. So United Way decided about 5 or 6 years ago, nobody's ever going to hit a hole-in-one on your event, Pat. We just self-insure.
Okay. You have the $1,000 somewhere sitting in an account just in case. Has it ever happened?
No, it's never happened.
Yeah, guess
I'm
what?
telling
This
you,
is the
don't.
year.
How big's our audience? How big is our audience this morning?
Now we have thousands listening.
There
so
we are,
You
see?
in deep doo-doo, Mr. Goggin.
I hope you've got the money, buddy.
Oh yeah. So we get.
Is that
we
what it
get-
is? Is $1,000, Pat, if they get it?
Yes. There's a
Cash
whole-
right there?
Yep, right there. Well, they'd get a check right there.
Oh,
Okay.
same thing.
And we have to have their social security number because
Oh, yeah.
the governor needs to know that they won this kind of money.
This kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's cool. And then we have whole sponsors.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. Or T sponsor, same thing.
Yeah.
Where someone can spend $150 if they don't want to golf, or if they do want to golf, they can still spend that. And then they own the hole, so they could put one of their employees, or if it's an insurance, let's take that. They could hand out trinkets and trash. That's the
Stuff.
that's
Logoed items.
stuff. Pens, pencils, mugs,
Frisbees,
coffee mugs, cars,
t-shirts.
whatever. And then there is one sweet spot. There's the lunch sponsor, because those lunches cost a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah. And there was this beautiful lady from, what's the name of it? Independent Bank that stepped up and did that.
Okay.
Yeah. That was very kind of her. That's really a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
I've heard of her.
Yes. And what's interesting?
You got to watch yourself.
What
around
I
her.
tell the golfers, and this is true, I tell the golfers, we'd like to thank our sponsors today. I'm talking to the golfers now. I'd like to thank our sponsors today because they paid for your golf. And they get a round of applause. And now I'd like to thank the golfers because you paid for their golf. And then they get a kick out of that. So everybody's thanked
happy.
and everybody's a winner.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you do drawings and things like that?
There are a few. There are contests. Let's call them
Okay.
contests. There is a 50-50 contest where people, they buy a string of tickets and we fold them in half, and I keep one half of that, and they keep the other. And then we divide them all out and put them in a jug and shake them up, and then somebody wins 50-50. You know, they win
half the money.
Yeah.
That's nice. And then the agency gets the remainder of the money.
That's right. That's right.
Good.
So that's fun. And we do. There's some games not games. They're contests on the course. Straightest drive, longest drive,
Closest to the pin, maybe.
closest to the pin, straightest drive. Did I say that?
I think you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I could not understand for about 3 years the difference between longest drive and closest to the pin. What is the difference?
The difference is on a par 4 or a par 5, you're going to be driving off the tee on a par 4 or a par 5. The closest to the pin probably only happens on a par 3, I would think.
Rich, are you a golfer?
But
I'm a big golf fan. You never knew this about me?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's
see how much Pat knows about golf, just for kicks. Pat, what hole do I live on? Because I happen to live on a golf course.
Oh, my gosh.
What? Because you've been to my house, 250 times. That's low.
it's the one on the lake.
Okay.
There's water.
Seriously? This is what I mean about Pat and I in golf. This is why it's funny. We're glad that
isn't
we
there
have you here.
There's a little
If you're-
peninsula.
he has no idea.
Out there.
I live on
Is
this-
it 16?
17th hole, Patrick.
Didn't I not just say 16?
Okay, that's not 17. Anyway, as we digress. So what's the goal? How much money?
We'd like to make $10,000 on
Okay.
this. Yep. That's a
Okay.
modest goal. We have done that routinely in the past. It's been good.
Netted. We're talking net numbers.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we count out all, pay everybody, and we get $10,000 out of that. So that's pretty good.
Did you revise your goal down this year, or have you actually raised it a little bit?
Now you're shifting to the campaign, not the golf.
Well,
The
no,
golf-
just for the golf,
no,
not the campaign.
No, we did not.
Okay.
Good.
No, we
And
haven't.
so are you going to hit it?
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
How many teams do you have?
So far, we're at 60, and we've got another week or so to go.
60 teams?
Yeah.
Is that?
I'm sorry. People, golfers.
Okay.
60.
Duffer. Yes.
So
yes.
30 teams.
Four-person teams?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that would be 15 teams.
Okay,
So
there you go.
What's good? What do you want to have?
What
How
number
many
of teams?
Yeah.
Well, 18 is a sweet spot because then you've got one
On every
foursome
hole.
on every hole.
Yes.
And the golfers like that too. They'd wish everybody would stop at 18 so they could.
So they can play. What do they say? They don't like slow play.
They don't like.
Well, they don't have to wait for others, right?
Okay.
If it is 18 for one for each hole, then that is perfect.
Well, just and real quick, Rich, what's etiquette when someone's horsing around and and then backing up the rest of the players? I'm just curious about that real quick. How does that work?
Have you ever played putt-putt golf?
Like when I was little.
So you have not done much in the way of miniature golf.
No.
So if you have a group of, and granted, you're all going to be foursomes, right?
Correct.
That's the plan.
Correct.
Okay.
But if you have one group that tends to, whack it around the course and, left and right, and they're just squirting it
Like
around
all the
there.
golf balls in my yard. Okay.
Yes. So it is a good etiquette to let a faster playing group play through.
That's the term, isn't it?
Playing through.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Meaning
But
you're
I don't know
probably
if I don't know if that's done in a scramble format or
Oh
not.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. And speaking of those golf balls that end up in Katy's yard, go to Katy at golf.com and
you can have all of them.
they'll come in for $1 a piece. Some of them are more, but
Yeah. But it's funny to hear.
Katy
all
has a lot of dimples.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh boy. So it's crazy because
You know that golf balls have dimples, right?
I do, and I do know what they look like.
Okay,
yes,
good.
they're
I didn't know if
smaller
I
than a
was saying
lacrosse ball.
something that was going over your head or
Oh,
not.
I know
so.
what those look like. And in fact, they even have clubs. They look pretty. That's all I can say.
Okay.
They don't
Yeah.
get much use.
And it's a whole nother wardrobe to shop for.
Wow.
And you get shoes with little things on the bottom.
Whoa.
That's really cool.
Do they have heels? Just kidding.
Yep.
Okay,
Well,
so
they're nice.
Do
let's-
not golf in heels, Katy Huckle. I know you wear heels for everything in life, but
What about
don't,
marathons? No. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's go back to United Way and fundraising and COVID and what this looks like. How are you feeling about campaign and dollars raised in the community and helping people?
Yeah. Helping people, of course, is always number one. We are actually having a bit of a time with completing our with the campaign that started technically on April 1st.
Sure.
And with the COVID, most of the money that comes to United Way comes to us through payroll deduction.
Oh boy.
So when people are sent home, it's not being deducted from any payroll.
No.
And I wouldn't expect these people to make this up. That I really, in my heart, I really wouldn't. But we're down 51%.
Right.
April, May, June, July.
Okay.
Those all together are down 51%.
Wow.
Yeah, that's from the collectibles from people who made pledges back in September, and that's why. So in good faith, they didn't see this coming. Nobody did. Yeah. But there is a ray of sunshine that in the mix here. We have a new tool called Roundup.
Yes.
This is really kind of cool. People, you know how you go into the grocery store and at the end of your experience there, when you're swiping your credit card, it may say, would you like to donate $1 to St. Jude's?
Right.
And I've always wondered, how do I get in line for this?
Right.
This is really easy.
Well, because let's say your total's $12.75, so it's a quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is that?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Okay.
Yep. So we all don't like cold calls when we get them from salespeople.
We do not.
We just hate them. But this young lady called me in December. And of course, it was a young lady, so I was willing to talk to her. And she was talking about this process called Roundup, where you take the change on your credit card transaction and you get it. Nice. So she's got my attention. And so I asked what I'm told by human resource people are inappropriate questions. They said, how old are you? And she said, I'm 22. Okay, so this is like your first job out of college, right? She said, yeah. Do you do this? She said, oh, yeah.
Meaning she rounds up.
She rounds up.
Okay.
She does this. And I said, so how much does this end up costing you each month?
Right.
She said, $30. I was speechless.
Okay, that's a lot of money to me. Is that what you were thinking too?
That's huge.
But yeah, when you realize how much cash you pay for stuff and the change you get back, spread that out over a 30 or 31 day period. It's
a lot of money. Now, I'm a little concerned about it from the person like you just did the math and thought, I can't afford this. This is crazy. So I asked her about that. She said, oh, no. You can pick, when you sign up for this, you can pick a threshold.
Oh.
You can pick $5 a month. She picks $30 a month.
Oh, so
holy
it could have even
cow.
been more.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like where we're going with this.
I really like it. And then there's all this other stuff that I hear other places. Young millennial types, they really don't want to donate to things through their employer.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand why,
Okay.
but I'm old. I thought this is just too easy to do it through my employer. Why, I'll just keep doing this. Right. And they said, nope, they don't. The kids don't like doing that.
Maybe they feel a loss of control. It could be.
That very well could be. Because what this has done, Roundup, is it has eliminated the employer from being in between the donor and United Way.
Yeah.
So the truth is, I like it.
Sure.
If you
You're
had
one
been
step closer to the donor.
I'm closer to the donor, and some employers don't pass along the donor information. I get it. They don't want their employees hounded by me. I get it. At the same time, that employee never gets a thank you card or thank you letter from us.
Or maybe they want to volunteer, and maybe they want to know more about the organization and what you're doing.
There you go.
Okay.
So we don't call people out of the blue like that. That's just not the way our United Way works.
No.
And they can still, with this process, still designate their donation. If they have a passion for Oasis, they can put that on their form, and the money still goes to Oasis. Oasis does an excellent job of that. They get about $3,000 a year from people who designate their pledge.
Yeah.
Now, most United Ways don't do that. United Way will take it, and their advisory council, we call ours a citizens review panel. That citizens review panel will decide who's going to get money and who's not, and then the United Way board decides how much they're going to get. But the citizen is in control of whether they get funded or not. Okay. And that I think is very credible then for us that we're not making these secret decisions behind closed door. Mm-hmm. We let the community help.
Right.
Can I split mine?
Yes, you can.
So if I wanted to do 50% to Oasis and 50% maybe to After 26 or something like that.
Yes, you may.
You could do that. Or a third and a third and a third.
You know what's interesting about what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
United Ways are known for keeping the money local.
Mm-hmm.
When you designate your donation, the donor is in control. That's the only way money in our United Way can be sent outside the service area. Our service area is Missaukee and Cadillac, Wexford, just those two counties. So if you grew up in Topeka, Kansas, and the scouting program saved your life, you might have sent them a $25 check, but you can do this and send
Through
a lot
your
more.
employer, and
Yeah.
then you handle the routing to whoever that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you can also give to other nonprofits outside of United Way's network too. So
Yes.
let's say it's an agency that doesn't apply for funding through United Way, but that agency is important to you. As long as they have a 501c3 status,
Yep.
then Pat will make sure that money goes to that agency too. So I think that's a little known fact.
And speaking of that, that reminds me that one might think that if Oasis was applied for $10 from United Way, and so at the end of the campaign, they are approved for funding, and so United Way is supposed to put $10 in that coffee can. You would think that United Way might look inside that coffee can first and say, "Oh, but we had people who designated their pledge, and there's $3 in there already. We only need to give them $7." Absolutely not.
Not how it works.
Does not work that way.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I've had board members ask me point blank, "How much is this agency? How much did they get from donor designations?" And I said, "You know what? I work for you. I'm not going to tell you. You can make me tell you, but we really shouldn't. The agencies honor this. We've honored this, and the donor honors this.
Yeah.
So it's the integrity of how the money is going out."
That's great.
Yeah.
Donor integrity, it's important.
We continue our conversation with Executive Director of the local United Way, Pat Goggin, after this word from our sponsors and a weather check from Morris Langworthy on 107.9 CDY. Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank, as well as Mary Ann Quist of RE/MAX Central. Buying a home is still the great American dream. And yes, it can be an intimidating process, but you can rest assured and have confidence when the professionals from RE/MAX Central are in your corner to guide you through it. Mary Ann Quist of RE/MAX Central has helped hundreds of home buyers in and around the Cadillac area navigate the process over the years, and she's ready to help you too. From start to finish, from finding a home to submitting an offer, to understanding the purchase agreement, to inspections, surveys, and appraisals, to the time when you finally sit down and sign those closing documents, Mary Ann will be there. When you're ready to buy, talk to Mary Ann Quist at RE/MAX Central. See her listings at teamquist.com. Back to Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. We continue our conversation with local United Way leader and Executive Director Pat Goggin, 107.9 CDY.
The murder mystery.
Oh my gosh. The board has decided to wait till December to make a decision on that.
Okay.
And we've got some pretty good people we can consult with. The health department, Kevin Hughes, is really big on that. He'll help us along.
Good.
And then we have the husband of the lady who writes the murder mystery, Amy Peltier. Her husband, Brandon Peltier, is a physician in town. So we kind of got an inside track, I hope,
Right.
on whether we should do that or not.
That's right.
If they say no, yikes, because that's a big chunk of money for us.
It is.
That's a lot of money. So
of money.
I don't know what we'll do. There are a lot of other organizations that are in the same problem. They're singing the same song with us. I had a call today from an agency that said, I don't know what we're going to do. We're
Running on fumes.
Yep.
If someone wants to donate, if someone wants to get involved, if someone wants to write a check,
Oh,
how do they get a hold of you?
well, if they simply Googled United Way Cadillac, we would be at the top of that list.
Okay.
And then they can, it's the email address, or the website address, pardon me, is helpothersnow.org.
Okay.
.org.
So you type in United Way of Cadillac and it'll lead you to the website.
It'll
of
lead you
Help
to the
Others.
website. It's right.
Okay.
It's going to be right there on the top of the page.
So I hate to be doom and gloom here, Pat, but what happens? I've served on your allocations committee, and it's hard. There's never enough money. There's always a lot of asks and never enough money. And so then you've got to go through and say who gets money and who doesn't, and everybody deserves the money. So what's going to happen if there isn't enough money in the pot? If just programming gets slashed and these agencies have got to go to other streams?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's the sad truth, is that
Okay.
we don't have another choice. We have a little choice in that we have some reserves.
Okay.
We are required by the National Association, or the worldwide it's called.
Okay, good.
And those are sitting in CDs right now. Excuse me. So In fact,
Good.
we're facing that dilemma right now. Like I mentioned, our collectibles are down. In the spring, when we made our allocations,
Oh, sure.
we bypassed the allocation process and said, we're just going to allocate to the programs that requested allocating last year. If they asked again this year, we're going to give them what we gave them last year. We're just going to, we just came up with that. If they got money from us last year, we're pretty sure they're on the level. We'll give them money this year, and we'll give them what they asked for last year. And then in December, when we're getting ready to send that last check to them, that's when we go back and go, okay, what do we really have? And if we have excess money, we will divide that as a percentage among all of them, and they'll all get that. A percentage of what they requested.
Okay.
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 The other side of it is if there isn't enough, we plan to liquidate a CD or two to pay for that. So they can, I really like to say, so that they can count on the money that they got last year, they'll get the same amount this year.
That's awesome.
But we didn't look at any new programs, and there are only a couple.
Right.
Yeah. And we'll still honor the direct designations. That's going to come out of that pot
Wow.
too.
Boy,
So
that's a lot
yep.
going on. So, Rich, to explain his allocations process for United Way, these agencies ask for funding and they get very specific about what the money is going for. For example, there's a food pantry in Missaukee County, and that woman comes in and she presents to a panel. And then the board gets together, and the panel members have all made comments, and there are several board members serving on all these panels as well. And they're all folks from the community. And so they're pretty much making a pitch for why I need this money and what I'm doing to help people in Wexford, Missaukee County. And this is why I deserve the money, and my agency does. Well, then the board has to sit down and say, okay, let's put all the forms in and divvy up the money. Well, in the middle of COVID, I mean, it was at a red hot nuclear level when it was time to meet with all these agencies, and we just couldn't do it. Couldn't
correct.
do it.
Yeah, we couldn't do it. That's
Right.
correct. That's
So,
correct.
I think
but we did
you
have
think- yeah.
an interesting thing happen though during the COVID. They were Meyer, the grocery store. We received a $13,000 check
Wow.
that was to be used for COVID related expenses.
Oh, I see. Masks. Yeah.
Whatever. Yes.
Okay.
And DTE and consumers and the Michigan Association of United Ways, they all added to that fund. And we even had some local people throw money in that fund too. And we made a decision early on that we were not going to jump into this. We don't know how long COVID's going to last.
Right.
We're not going to jump into it. So we didn't allocate anything to anybody for the first 2 months.
Okay.
And then they had to apply for it like they do our community response grant. And we were able to work that money down. And one of the things we did I thought was rather interesting, this would have been in April. We couldn't, nobody could hand you a mask or anything. But we said, what about the banks with the drive-up windows? We can put them in the tube inside the door and shoot it out to their car. And that's what we did. Almost all the banks and almost all the credit unions participated in that program. And they still are. They still are. So that's how we did. And we've gone
Nice.
through 5,000 masks.
Oh my goodness.
Have been distributed that way. I think that's
Isn't
kind of
that
cool.
something? And you drive by
Yeah.
these banks and you see these drive-throughs. It's because nobody wants to go in and go face-to-face
Yeah.
with people.
Well, and in some cases, some banks kept it drive-through only for a significant period
Yeah,
of
it's
time.
true.
Yes.
Lobbies
Yeah.
were closed. Lobbies were closed. You said three important words: community response grant. Can you? And this is really interesting, Rich. That United Way does this too. Can you tell us what that is?
Sure. Things are going to come up. Things are going to come up during the year. A few years ago, Oasis, a boiler went out in their shelter house. And it was in the winter, of course. And they were in a crunch. So they called and said, can you help us? And I said, well, I suggest you go to the Rotary Foundation, which is very generous in town, and the Cadillac Area Community Foundation. And let's see if we can't divide it by 3. And so we have some money that's set aside for community response grants. And those other 2 organizations both said, yeah, we'll do a third.
Wow.
If the other 2 will do a third. And so we all got to help.
Right.
And it didn't cost anybody a fortune. And we were able to get Oasis back up and running right now. Kind of like what happened That's a little different, but what happened with Love Inc.
I was just thinking of that. You're giving me the
Well,
shivers.
you go ahead. You talk.
Well, Love Inc. burned down in the middle of the night. And
we
I mean,
remember that really well.
the workers are like, seriously. I mean, there were people scheduled to be on calls and money to be given out, and United Way stepped up. I mean, it was phone calls in the middle of the night with the fire chief and getting Pat on the line and saying we need money, and it was really
the very next day,
yes,
we were able to give him a check for, I can't remember now.
it was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a lot of money, but I can't remember what it was.
So that we could keep operating, you know. So yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, it's wonderful. So what's your goal? I mean, everything's changed. Nothing stayed the same. So when you talk about the golf outing and trying to raise enough money, I mean, how do you sleep at night, number one? But what's the goal now?
Well, my goal would be to improve the way that we are able to raise money, whether it's from employees of industry, the general public, as well as what we used to do as the neighborhood campaign, the people that have retired or work out of their home, things like that. But to change that model, this United Ways all over the country are suffering from the payroll deduction model. That model that's been around since 1911. That's been very interesting. That was the business community that went to the Chamber of Commerce in Cleveland, Ohio, and said, "You got to stop sending these people to my door every day. One ask, one give. That's what we'll do." And they let the employees, and that's where payroll deduction came from.
So when you would go into a company and said, we support United Way, that meant you're going to have to go through United Way to get money from us because they're the,
And that
conduit.
goes back to the designated gift.
Yes.
Anybody can say to their community, the sports boosters, because that's a non-taxable group, the school.
Yep.
You need shoes? Go to your group and say, look, go through payroll deduction. You can spend $1 a week, and that'll be $52 a year, and you can throw that you can designate that for shoes for cross country.
Yes.
So everybody can afford it. And that's exactly what Oasis did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. You meet people where they're at, and you meet the community needs that are out there, and we're just so grateful for you and for United Way. Pat.
Well, thank you, Katie. That's very nice.
Let's circle back and talk about because the golf event is the most immediate thing.
Oh my
Here it
gosh.
comes.
How do you participate? How do you get involved? Who do you call?
Sure.
Yes.
Let's start with the date, October 2nd
Yep.
of this year.
Where?
It's at El Dorado.
Okay.
And you contact United Way, which, again, remember, if you just typed in your Google search string, United Way Cadillac will come up. Our web address is helpothersnow.org. And talk to, you can send a note to us and we'll hook you up. We'll send you the information on it.
Sounds
we need
good.
golfers and we need sponsors for United Way, Rich.
Yep,
All right.
we do.
Get a hold of Pat. He'll get you in the right direction.
Yep. $150 tea sponsors that's the big deal.
Okay.
Okay.
It's the easy one.
That's
All right.
easy.
Let's get it done.
Okay.
October 2nd. All right. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Cadillac Unscripted. Join Katy and myself next week, same time, same station, for more local chat, sponsored by Independent Bank and Marianne Quist of Remax Central on 107.9 CDY.